Literature reviews for research papers. This lesson will explain how to write a literature review. After completing this lesson, learners will be able to identify the components of a literature review, compare and contrast a literature review with an annotated bibliography, compare and contrast a literature review with an argumentative essay, evaluate a literature review, and develop a plan for writing a literature review. The purpose of writing a literature review is to inform the reader and yourself of the current trends and issues in the field regarding your topic. A literature review has three major components: an introduction, discussion of the themes, and a summary. The introduction provides some background knowledge and identifies the themes or trends in the literature, which will serve as subheadings to organize the literature review. The literature review ends with a summary of the themes and major findings. You are given the last word. It is here you will reiterate how your study will contribute to the literature. One of the most difficult parts of the literature review is the discussion of themes. Throughout the literature review, at least 3 articles are grouped by theme and evaluated together. The articles are compared and contrasted in regards to the themes and research methodology. The gaps in the literature or the missing information from the findings and/or inadequacies in the research methodology are then identified. These inadequacies could include the omission of a population from the studies or the findings that still left some unanswered questions. Each discussion of a theme ends with an explanation of how your research can fill a gap in the literature, build upon previous studies, or contribute to the literature. It's time to test your knowledge of literature reviews. Pause the lesson and follow the URL to find 2 short questions regarding literature reviews. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the quiz. You may be surprised to learn that students often mistake annotated bibliographies for literature reviews. The purpose of the literature review is to inform the reader of trends and issues among a group of articles. The purpose of an annotated bibliography is to provide a summary and evaluation for each individual article. Annotated bibliographies are organized alphabetically using the author's last name in a full bibliographic citation of the source. Each annotated bibliographic entry begins with a summary of the author's purpose and major findings, then an evaluation in which it is determined whether or not the research design adequately supports the author's purpose. Annotated bibliographic entries end with a discussion of how the source is relevant to your study. Let's test your knowledge of annotated bibliographies. Pause the lesson and follow the URL to find 2 short questions about annotated bibliographies. Welcome back. Be honest. Did you put your name on the quiz's leaderboard? Alright, champ. Let's continue with our lesson. Not only do students confuse literature reviews with annotated bibliographies, but they also mistake them for argumentative essays as well. Again, the purpose of a literature review is to inform the reader of current trends and issues in the literature. However, the purpose of an argumentative essay is to defend a point of view, which is also called a thesis, using information from published sources for supporting details and examples. An argumentative essay begins with an introductory paragraph, which states the thesis and its major arguments or reasons why you believe that the thesis is true. Each of the body paragraphs, which follow the introductory paragraph, provides supporting details and examples for each of the major arguments. An argumentative essay ends with a conclusion in which the thesis is restated and the major points that were made in the paper are summarized. How much do you really know about argumentative essays? Pause the lesson and follow the URL to find 2 short questions about argumentative essays. Welcome back. How did you do on the quiz? This is a chart which summarizes the concepts that were presented in the lesson. The 2 major takeaways from this lesson are: do not summarize each source separately when writing a literature review, and literature reviews end by summarizing each theme and reiterating how the proposed study will contribute to the literature. Use Google to perform a search for free dissertation databases, or follow the posted URL to view a video on how to find published literature reviews. After you find a literature review, evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of it using the information from the lesson as your guide. For example, did the author make any common mistakes? Here is a tip to assist you in identifying the themes for your literature review. After reading 2 to 3 articles, use coding to identify the similarities and differences. Coding is a technique that researchers use to categorize and label data. Now that you know how to write a literature review, consider the specific steps that you will need to take in order to actually write a literature review. What's your plan?